Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is Cody Tanner. I'm your host today. No James today, unfortunately. He is dealing with a close family member that has a serious medical situation that does require his full attention. So we are lifting our prayers to him and his family right now. And if you guys are the praying type, feel free to pray as well, or good wishes, whatever you guys want to do. We greatly appreciate that. He is dealing with some serious things. So he is not with us today, but we are going to talk about Steelers news. We're going to talk about team captains, the full practice squad list, and our upcoming opponent for week 1. So with that being said, the team captains were announced. You can have up to 2 special teams captains, defensive captains, and offensive captains. Pittsburgh chose to go with 1 on the offensive and special team side of the ball this year, and then they chose 2 on defense. So Kenny Pickett being the first guy, we're going to announce Kenny Pickett 2023 offensive captain. This is the first year, I think, since 2016 that it is just one person. 2016 was just Ben Roethlisberger, and then there's been actually maybe in 2017 and 21 there might have been just one as well, if I'm not mistaken. But Ben's been the leader for a long time. Marquise Pouncey was for a while. Last year was Najee Harris and Mitch Trubisky, but this year it's just Kenny Pickett solo. I like the look. I think James would too. It's kind of saying, hey, we have all of our faith in you to lead this team. It's kind of like the unofficial official passing of the torch, if you for lack of a better term, for Kenny Pickett to be taking over the team offensively and kind of overall as well. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Cam Hayward and TJ Watt both announced as defensive team captains. They've both been team captains before. Cam Hayward's been the defensive captain since, I believe, 2015, if I'm not mistaken, when he took over for Troy Polamalu. Every single year, TJ Watt, 2020, was a captain as well, and 2022. And then now 2023 being the third time he's been captain as well. And then on the special teams side of the ball, Miles Killebrew, this is his second year in a row doing it. He's had blocked punts. He's had a good job being on special teams and doing what he does. And again, even in practice or in preseason this year, we talked about it, that he had a partial blocked punt. So that's the reason they brought him back to the 53-man roster, and he is a good leader on special teams for that. Now we're going to go over the practice squad players. So the practice squad players that were announced, we're going to go over all of them rather than just touch on the few that we missed. I just want to go over the entire list. So Luke Barku, the cornerback from San Diego State, being 6'1", 180. We got to see a lot of him in preseason. It was kind of a battle between him and some other guys on who was going to make the team, who could have a better preseason. Greg Bell, the running back we got to see, who was number 26 on offense, which was fun to watch. Or no, he wasn't number 26 on offense. I lied because that was Anthony McFarland. But it was fun to see Bell not in a 26. But weird because he had the same kind of build, which also from San Diego State. Anthony Brown, the cornerback that we just got from the Dallas Cowboys, or formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. He's been 8 years in the league. He has some experience. If we have a cornerback go down, there's a chance that he can come in and play a special teams role or play a specific role and not be an immediate liability on the defensive side of the ball. Tariq Carpenter, another defensive back from Georgia Tech. He's 2 years experience. Kellen Deesh, offensive tackle. He's 6'7", 300 pounds, 26 years old. Only been in the league a year, but that adds some depth for if injuries happen or if we need to call somebody up. Braden Fehoko, you guys have known about him, the nose tackle, 6'3", 300 pounds, 3 years experience. Semi Fehoko, again, another brother tandem, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but wide receiver, 6'4", 218 pounds, 3-year experience. The rookie Joey Fisher, who's a guard, 6'4", 296 from Shepherd. Des Fitzpatrick, a guy that we've talked about a lot with his special teams play, wide receiver, 6'2". This was a guy that James and I honestly were talking about since he was brought into the league 2 years ago from Louisville. We saw him play in one of those college games that they play at the end of the year, kind of to finally showcase their, like a final showcase of their skills. So we got to see that. Xander Horvath, running back, who is 6'3", 230 pounds. Very big boy. Arguably could use him as a fullback, but 2 years experience he's on. Jonathan Marshall, we've talked about him, defensive tackle from Arkansas, 2 years in the league. Quadri Olson, running back, 6'1", 232 out of Pittsburgh. Been in the league for 5 years, bounced around practice squads. David Perales, a linebacker who's a rookie from Fresno State. Josiah Scott, a cornerback who's been in the league for 4 years out of Michigan State, previously played with the Philadelphia Eagles. If I'm not mistaken, he was on their practice squad when they won the Super Bowl. I could be wrong about that. Trenton Thompson, a guy that's gotten an interception for us in preseason, the defensive back safety, who is 6'1", 196, 25 years old, only been in the league for a year, but making the practice squad. And then Rodney Williams, the tight end that we talked about from Tennessee Martin, who's been in the league for a year. So that finalizes the practice squad. We do have those two guys that if you forgot about, who will probably easily be on the team, the 90-man team next year. Corey Trice Jr., the rookie defensive back who got hurt, and then Rennell Wren, the defensive tackle, 6'5", 315. Would have loved to see him play this preseason. Unfortunately, he got injured early. And then now moving on, we're going to talk about the 49ers. Week 1 against the 49ers. This is the first Pittsburgh Steelers home opener in I don't remember how long, because there's always been conflict with the Pirates games and stuff like that. But Pittsburgh gets a home opener hosting the San Francisco 49ers. Looking at their offensive side of the ball, they just got rid of Trey Lance, which is just crazy to me because they traded up for him back in the day for the first round pick, or for a first round pick, and used it on him, but he's already gone. He never even really got a chance to take over. Brock Purdy being the starting quarterback. Brock Purdy, we got to see a little bit last year, kind of led a little late run for them and the 49ers, and can play well. I'm curious to see what happens now that there's tape on him, now that people understand more how he plays in the NFL, because again, players from college, even from high school to college, play differently. Coaches teach them different things, and especially from college to the NFL. The NFL teaches you different things, the playing style that you're in, the formations that are called, the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, all the things, the different players you have around you. So now that there's film on him in the NFL, I'm curious how we will attack him, whether we just play man-to-man all game long or if we play a zone, some kind of combination of the two, I'm sure. And then how much are we going to blitz Brock Purdy? We have the ability to do that with the guys on defense. I mean, I'm sure that we're going to see multiple sacks. Not saying that this offensive line is a pushover, because it's really not. Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in the league, the blindside blocker, and then they got Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, and Colton McKilvitz on the offensive line, finishing that off. But these guys are set. If he has any time to throw the ball, they're set at wide receiver and the specialty positions. Even Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, has caught touchdowns and made plays. But you look at Christian McCaffrey, who just came over last year, if I'm not mistaken, from the Carolina Panthers. Phenomenal player in Christian McCaffrey, able to run the ball, able to catch out of the backfield, screen plays, down, even catching the ball downfield. Tight end George Kittle, phenomenal tight end, arguably top 2 in the league. Him and Travis Kelce, probably the top 2 for sure. Hopefully Pat Freiermuth can get to that point at some point. And then you look at the wide receiver room. You got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Raymond McLeod, who's a previous Steelers player, but has done really, really well in the 49ers offense. Juanu Jennings, and then you guys got Willie Snead. I mean, there's a ton of guys on this team that we've seen the names bounce between teams and have decent years and playing styles with these teams. So offense is no joke at all. The defense is kind of the same way, honestly. You have a guy that we talked about a lot in the strong safety position, Talanoa Hufanga, a guy that we wanted Pittsburgh to potentially draft, at least especially I did, to take over for Terrell Edmonds when he left Talanoa Hufanga from University of South Carolina, or California. Excuse me, University of South California. And then you got Tashawn Gibson Sr. at free safety. Looking at the cornerback room, Travarius Ward, Demondre Lenore, and Isaiah Oliver being the nickel back. It's a decent, honestly, more than decent secondary. Some definitely guys are not going to be pushovers. I'm excited to see what George Pickens, Calvin Austin, Deontay, what these guys can do, because this is like a decent test to see what they can do. Calvin Austin, again, this being his first NFL experience because he missed all last year being injured. I'm excited to see if he can outrun some people, if we can get some deep shots to him. George Pickens, the freak that he is, I'm excited to see if he can go up over the top and out-jump Talanoa or Tashawn and see some of these deep balls. And then over the middle of the field, you look at the linebacker crew. The Will linebacker being Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, one of the best middle linebackers or Mike linebackers in their defensive scheme in the NFL by far. And then Oren Burks on the strong side. linebackers are great. The linebackers here are phenomenal. And then you look at the defensive line position. There's Clelin Ferrell. There's Javon Hargrave, a guy that recently played with the Philadelphia Eagles. Played for us. We know we wanted them to keep Javon Hargrave. We've seen what he's done. They have Javon Kinlaw, a previous draft pick. I don't remember where he was drafted, but high draft pick, highly sought after defensive tackle. Then you have Arik Armstead on the left interior defensive line. That's another guy that's going to cause havoc if not taken properly. I'm excited to see what our offensive line can do too, because this is kind of a first big step or first big test, if you say. Drake Jackson on the left side of the defensive end. This is the team that could easily pound and destroy us on the offensive line if they don't come with their A game, if we don't see how well they played with all of the ones in preseason. So I'm excited to see how they do in their first real live action. And then you have the special teams. You have the punter, Mitch Wishnowski. You have the kicker, Jake Moody. They actually have two kickers, Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez on the team. The punter is also the holder. And then Rayburn McLeod is punt return and kickoff return. So we will see him. And then they have Tabor Pepper as their long snapper. Hopefully he can mess up a snap or two, give us some good field position. So looking forward to this game against the 49ers. If you guys have any predictions, feel free to let us know. We would love to talk about people that messaged us potentially before the game took place, or maybe before, even if it's before kickoff or during the game. If you guys want to message us on social media, we'd love to talk about that. But I also want to talk real quick about someone that messaged into us. A buddy of mine, Dylan Sonny, messaged us and said, you guys mentioned those picks that we got for the linemen. We talked about who would get released and everything. He's like, you guys were saying how the Steelers find diamonds in the rough. And he's like, which he completely agrees with, but he also wants to think about the extra draft capital from the con artist. I love how he said that, con, because Omar Khan, the con artist, to move up and be aggressive with those later round picks in the draft. Omar Khan came in and was way more aggressive than I expected him to be. First off with the trades, then with the drafting, and then even after the draft, more trades. We've got more draft capital from trading two offensive linemen away and all this stuff. It's impressive and exciting to see what Omar Khan is doing with the Steelers front office and doing with their roster and doing with the trades and getting draft capital for the future, even the 2025 picks that won't happen for another 2 years. It's kind of saying, hey, if we don't have someone set in stone now, I'm making sure we have more draft capital down the line to whether we got to use it for a trade up or to reposition ourselves in the draft, or just, again, like he said, find another diamond in the rough, which Pittsburgh has been good at doing for so many years. Antonio Brown, forgetting the craziness of what happened after, with the possibility of him having CTE, the drama that happened, all the mood swings, all the stuff that happened with him. Barring that, if you forget about that, he was a phenomenal player. We got him in the 6th round. I mean, that's wild with how well he performed and how well he played in the NFL. Pittsburgh does find diamonds in the rough, so I'm very excited to see what they do with that. But again, if like Dylan, if you guys want to message in to us, whether it's on social media or through email, please feel free to reach out to us. We love to read from you guys. We love to hear your side of what you think Pittsburgh's going to do, how you think they'll fare this year. Just everything and anything you want to talk about, feel free to message us. We will talk about it on the podcast for you guys. So again, I apologize that James was not here today. He is dealing again with a serious medical situation with someone close in his family. Please keep him in your prayers, and we lift up his entire family to just, in my personal belief to God. I'm praying for him and praying for the situation. So again, we can't thank you guys enough. I know that James is very grateful for every single one of you that listens, watches. You guys are a second family to us, even though we don't always hear from you. It's fun to see where you guys download from and see interactions on Facebook and stuff like that. So again, thank you guys so very much. If you're listening or watching, please continue to let us know how we can be better, what you want to see, what you want us to do. But again, we can't thank you guys enough. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. It's free, guys. And until next time, this is me signing off for myself and James. Peace.